made jokes and served drinks for 11 years. But then something crazy happened. One star went from being America's sweetheart to living alone after getting depressed after leaving the show too soon. Another popular person cheated on his wife with 3 different women in one night, but he still managed to keep his marriage together. And the funny bartender we loved every week almost killed after a terrible scandal that would end jobs right now. Watch this video to find out who is still alive, who is still having a hard time, and who we will never see again. Ted Danson. For more than 10 years, Ted Danson was Sam Malone, not just a character. A lot of people watched Cheers every week to see the flirty ex-baseball player work behind the bar, plus more than 80 million people watched him end the show in 1993. It was the biggest ending to a TV show ever. Even though everyone else laughed and cheered, Danson was quietly getting tired of it all. The role that made him popular had also held him back. Behind the scenes, he was stuck, angry, and ready to leave the role of the womanizing bar owner. Danes was going through hell by the end of Cheers. He was 45 years old, he had a nasty divorce from his first wife, and he had just broken up with Whoopi Goldberg after a very public romance. After that, there was the Friars Club roast. He put on makeup that night as a joke with Goldberg. Even though she stood by him, the reaction was harsh and quick. It almost killed him. No one was laughing anymore. He was instead called names and made fun of. He kept seeing that night for years, and it became a sign of all the bad things that had happened. He later said he wasn't mentally grown up at the time. During an interview, he told the truth about having lied to people in the past. He didn't say his name, but he made it clear that he needed to change. That was the start of something new. Counseling, therapy, and deep self-reflection can help. It was hard. It did work, though. The man behind Sam Malone slowly changed into a completely different person, and that new Ted Danson found meaning in the ocean, which was the last place he thought it would be. He was in Santa Monica at the time and took his girls to the beach. They saw a sign that said no swimming because the water was dirty. That moment changed his life because he couldn't explain it to them. What started as a mess turned into a whisper. The American Oceans campaign began in their basement, where he and a friend worked together. Oceana, one of the largest environmental groups in the world, grew from a small group of people working together. It wasn't just Danson's name that was used. He learned about science. He found out the truth. He used his fame to get the word out. His message was easy to understand. The seas are getting weaker, and everything else will fall with them if we don't do something now. He pushed against everything, from overfishing to plastic waste to drilling in the ocean. He said that saving the ocean would make more things better than just the water. It might help feed people, keep the climate safe, and slow down the tragedies that happen more often every year. By 2025, Danson's work as an activist was once again in the news. He backed bold environmental plans like the Green New Deal and marched for fair climate change laws. He didn't just say something, he showed up. And as the number of wildfires, floods, and droughts grew, so did his sense of urgency. He said that the worst things would happen if we didn't fix this, especially for the weakest people. But he didn't only carry protest signs and talk about politics in his life. In a quiet way, his career had reached a new golden age. He played a charming, complicated demon-turned-hero in The Good Place and got praise for it all over again. Younger fans who had never seen Cheers before were now calling him a hero. His most recent Netflix show, A Man on the Inside, was also a big hit. It stayed in the top 10 for weeks and earned him another Golden Globe nomination. He's going to get the Carol Burnett Award, which is one of the highest awards in TV, in January 2025. Shelley Long stole the show as Diane Chambers, the sassy waitress whose quick wit and never-ending drive made people cheer. She was different from the very first show. She talked like she was picking lines from Shakespeare. She walked like she belonged in a classroom, but she still managed to make you laugh. Their back and forth was what kept the show going for 5 seasons. Then, in 1987, Shelley quit, just as the show was getting popular. This made everything different. People were shocked. Writers got scared. Even co-creator Glenn Charles said that some people thought Cheers might not be able to go on without her. The move looked dangerous and even careless at the time, but it made sense to Shelley. With movie deals, Hollywood had come calling. At that time, movies were more important than TV. She had already made a name for herself in The Money Pit with Tom Hanks and in Irreconcilable Differences, where she got praise for her role. She didn't just want to be a part of a good thing, she wished to get bigger. But desire wasn't the only thing going on. After having her daughter Juliana, Shelley didn't want to spend long days on set because she was a new mom. She made it clear in interviews that spending time with her child was more important to her than making another 22-episode season. She also thought Cheers was running over and over again, the same events, the same tension. The conversation was getting old, and she didn't want to call it in. She jumped them. Still, things hadn't been perfect behind the scenes. There were clashes of ideas. Later, her on-screen partner Ted Dansen said that they had some problems, but it was all for work. Just two people who work in different ways. Then Frasier, played by Kelsey Grammar, started getting more lines. Some people said he didn't like that change. It was clear how they felt, whether that was true or not. Her shine was going out. Even so, she quit on her own terms. She later said that working at Cheers was one of the best things that had ever happened to her. Things went in a weird direction for Shelley after Cheers. Hello Again, a movie about a mother who comes back from the dead, was her first big movie after she left. After that, she played a naive but likable scout leader in Troop Beverly Hills. Neither one made a big deal. The critics were not pleased. People didn't bite. All of a sudden, leaving Cheers didn't seem like such a good idea. The Bunch movie came out. In an instant, Shelley changed into Carol Brady, the ideal mother in a world that didn't make sense. It was strange and funny, a strange sense of nostalgia, and it gave her career a new boost. She played the part in more movies and TV shows, and for a while it looked like she was back on track. TV shows and Good Tips also tried to get her back, but they didn't work. Her personal life slowly fell apart while all this was going on. She and Bruce Tyson split up after being married for more than 20 years. In 2004, they got a divorce. Shelley was stepping away from the attention at that point. Her goals changed. Her attention was on her daughter, and she didn't come to work unless it was something that really interested her. She had her last big part in The Cleaner, Rhea Perlman. She didn't set out to become a TV star, but when she put on her waitress outfit and walked behind the bar on Cheers, everything changed. She became the tough, sassy heart of the show when she played Carla Tortelli. Rhea owned that part from the first sarcastic line to the very last show. It wasn't like she was just another supporting performer. She brought life to every scene. People loved her fire, her comebacks, and how honest she was. It was agreed upon by reviewers. There were 10 nods for her and she won 4. That's more than any other actor on the show. NBC later said that Carla was one of the best TV figures ever. But Rhea wasn't sure where she was going before Cheers. Role on Taxi, she worked with Danny DeVito there, who would marry her in the end. After that, makers saw something in her that other people hadn't. They saw toughness and grit. That got her a job on Cheers, where she stayed for 11 years and 275 shows. She didn't leave. Haida, her sister, helped write and make the show. Philip, their dad, was in more than 160 shows. It wasn't just a job, it was family. She didn't try to act like it wasn't a big deal when the show was over. She said it was her best job ever. All of them thought about staying another year. Why not? She said that you should accept a gift that you get every year. Rhea's real life was just as complicated as her on-screen life. The two met at a small play in New York in 1971. They got married in 1982, the same year that Cheers started, and hit it off right away. Lucy, Grace, and Jay were the next 3 kids. But after 30 years together, they broke up in 2012. A split was what most people thought would happen. That did not happen. They are still formally married, close, and raising their grandchildren together in 2025. Rhea once said that their relationship got better after they broke up because there was no longer any stress in it. There are important events like the birth of their grandson Sinclair in 2021 and another one after that are still shared with each other. They still see each other and talk a lot. They still work together at Jersey Films, the film company they started. Rhea doesn't like to take a quiet exit, never meant to become a TV star. Norm Peterson, the actor who plays him on Cheers, was just another guy on a stool when he first walked into the bar. People fell in love with Norm because of how Went played him, how he just went with the flow, and how he made everyone feel like they knew him. What began as a small part became one of the most famous figures in the history of sitcoms. It wasn't a joke that the bar always yelled Norm when he walked in. It turned into a habit. Most people didn't know how much thought he and his co-star John Ratzenberger put into their scenes. They made funny things that they thought no one would find funny. They called it joke obscura. It did work though. Norm was more than just funny. He became known to many people. 6 times in a row Went was up for an Emmy Award, but he lost all of them. People remember that the guy who made everyone laugh never got the prize, even though he joked about it. It wasn't fun at all, not even the beer. Went once said that the salt in the beer he drank made it foam better. It was awful. For scenes, he would chug it over and over. It made him worry about his blood pressure. He finally came up with a plan. He would only drink when the camera was on him. Behind the scenes stuff like that is something you never see, but it shows how hard they work to make Norm look natural. Went could have become forgotten after Cheers like many others who were stuck in the shadow of their most famous part. He didn't, though. It was hard at first. He was seen as normal. Norm alone. He didn't fight it, though. He found a strange peace with it. In a later interview, he talked about a character he played that was only known for one part, just like him. That truth hit home. Knew what it was like to be stuck in other people's minds for a long time. Then there was the health scare. Went had to back out of a big stage show in 2013 because she was having chest pains. It was very bad. It made him and everyone else remember how quickly life can change for someone who had always been so calm and relaxed. After that, he started putting those real-life problems into his characters, which made his performances more real. Went is still around, even though he is in his 70s. He has work to do. You can still see them in movies and play new parts. Between $25 million, 0 cents, and $45 million, 0 cents. That's pretty good for someone who used to just watch TV at the end of a bar. It's John Ratzenberger. In the early 1980s, John was just another actor trying to get a break. He felt bad about himself when he tried out for Cheers. He thought it was over as he walked away, but then he turned around and pitched an idea. A regular at the bar, who always had something interesting to say. Right then and there, he used an example to show why the Bic pen dropped the H from bitch. It was risky and odd, but it worked. That's when Cliff Clavin, the mailman who loves knowledge and was on every season of Cheers, was born. It wasn't planned, it just happened, and it changed everything. Many people thought Ratzenberger would lose attention after Cheers finished. He found something even stronger than fame instead, sticking to it. For Toy Story, Pixar gave him a chance. After that, he turned into their Lucky Charm. He was in every Pixar movie for 25 years, playing everything from the evil snowman to Mac the truck. As a game, people tried to find him in every new movie. His movie sales were in the billions by 2019. The streak stopped all of a sudden. There was no notice or reason. He was no longer in Pixar's voice group. Fans still don't understand why John Ratzenberger wasn't just interested in movies. He worked quietly to become a businessman and engineer. He came up with an eco-friendly way to package things in 1989 by using paper instead of plastic. He sold the business after a few years because it worked so well. Then he went digital and made a method that used famous people's names to get people to visit websites. While other people were looking for parts in Hollywood, he went to factories all over the United States to film a show called Made in America. He needed to show people how things were put together and why it was important. That goal turned into a whole movement. He gave $1 million to help public schools teach job skills again, plumbing, welding, and building things. He thought those jobs were as good as anything in Hollywood. He did more than just talk, he made it happen. Ratzenberger lived a quieter life after being out of the press. He was married for 20 years and had 2 children. In 2012, he got married again. He went to a small island in Washington state after living in London for a while and avoided the busy Hollywood scene. He backed conservative leaders and spoke out about what he believed, even when it got him in trouble. That being said, was part of who he was, though. Kirsty Alley. It was really tough when Shelley Long quit Cheers as Rebecca Howe. Kirsty came in with a voice that no one else had, and a role whose goal wasn't to be like Diane. She was smart, worried, and focused on her job, but she was also a mess inside. It worked. People loved her in that part, and she won both an Emmy and a Golden Globe. Alley didn't have much of a reputation before Cheers. Her big break came with Cheers. Before, she was best known for a small part in Star Trek II. She got more dramatic parts after the show ended and even won another Emmy. She went through many changes and had her own show called Veronica's Closet. Things weren't always easy, though. Alley had trouble with weight gain and wasn't ashamed to say so. She made a TV show out of it. Then she wrote a book about it. It was then a reality show. She didn't hide or polish her domestic fights from the public. Fully and completely her. She was also never afraid to say what she thought. Alley didn't stay quiet about politics like some people in Hollywood did. She backed Donald Trump. She said it cost her jobs, but she stuck by what she said. She wasn't trying to be someone else, even if some people didn't agree with her. The shock then came. Kirsty's children told everyone in late 2022 that she had died after a short but tough battle with colon cancer. The people didn't know. She didn't say anything. One of the most recognizable TV stars was gone in an instant. Woody Harrelson is 71 years old. When a popular character died, Woody Harrelson was brought in to play the goofy new guy on Cheers. No one knew what to expect from him at first, but then something happened. People liked him because he seemed innocent and had a great sense of time. That small, simple part became a big step forward. He was more than just Woody Boyd. People couldn't take their eyes off of him. He started making movies while he was still serving drinks on the show. His first movie wasn't very important. It was a football comedy with Goldie Hawn. That was afterward. He shocked everyone after Cheers was over. He moved away. He changed his goals when he became a dad, and acting took a back seat for a while. But when he tried to return to Hollywood, they didn't exactly greet him with open arms. The parts weren't ready for him when he thought they would be. He could have been crushed by that quiet, but it didn't. He chose to take a huge risk instead. He stopped being seen as a nice guy and played a serial killer in the movie Natural Born Killers, which was one of the craziest and most unpredictable parts anyone had ever seen him in. People were shocked. That was the point. Woody Harrelson was no longer just the funny bartender. He was dangerous, hard to predict, and so brilliant that everyone in the business had to pay attention. After a few years, he got a part that got him nominated for his first Oscar, For the People versus Larry Flynt as Larry Flynt. Any doubts were taken away by that effort. He wasn't just pretending. His goal was to show that he was as good as the best in the game. It kept going after that. He became the type of actor who could do anything, from war dramas to dark comedies, from big-budget series to small-budget hits. 100 Years of Solitude, 3 Billboards, Zombieland, and The Hunger Games. His name meant range. His job was danger. His life wasn't quiet when he wasn't in front of the camera, though. In 2002, he made a mistake while drunk in London that almost cost him his wife and made the news all over the world. A lot of people would have lost everything. But his loyal partner, Laura, didn't kick him out. Instead, she kind of forgave him. That most people would not believe. While that was going on, Woody went to jail for yelling at a taxi driver. He got bailed out by Laura. She did more than stay. She stayed strong. His tricks still surprised people. Suncoast, an interesting independent movie he was in 2024, showed a different, softer, more thoughtful side of him. People felt like it was personal when they watched it. But just when people thought he might be winding down and taking it easy, he turned down not 1 but 2 parts in the hugely famous TV show The White Lotus. A lot of people thought it was about money, but it wasn't. He planned a trip for his family and stuck to it. Hey, Kelsey Grammar. Frasier left when Cheers was over. Now, Kelsey wasn't just a part of a great show. He looked like one. But that well-groomed, smart persona hit a man who was going through pain that most people can't even imagine. His father was shot and killed during a brutal home invasion when he was only 13. In one of the cruelest acts ever, his younger sister Karen was taken and killed years later. It kept going. In a terrible dive accident, one of his half-brothers died while trying to save the other.